Right now, a report by the Public Affairs Select Committee was published today that looked into the manipulation of police crime statistics.
Yes, part of that report praised the bravery and honesty of one Metropolitan Police officer who spoke out about the massaging of those statistics.
Now, Lucy has been to meet the man who blew the whistle to find out if he and his wife have any regrets.
This is James Patrick. Until 2 weeks ago, he was a serving police officer for the Metropolitan Police. In 2012, he went public with the concerns he had about the way crime was being recorded.
As many as 300 burglaries would disappear within a couple of week period. There'd been a human intervention, i.e. a management intervention, and those burglaries had effectively disappeared in a puff of smoke.
Speaking out and becoming a whistleblower is a big decision. You may see it as standing up for your principles, but other people may call you a traitor. James was working in a special unit processing data when he discovered inconsistencies in how some crimes had been reported and recorded. He told a parliamentary committee that it was a deliberate attempt to manipulate crime statistics.
Clear robberies were being reported to us, and within a day or so they would be downgraded to thefts or theft snatches, and this was completely intentional. It was because it looked bad on the books, not being given the correct investigations, and it was all for a green scorecard.
What was the worst example that you came across of a crime being downgraded?
One which sticks in my mind was a young girl who'd been a victim of a sexual offence, and effectively she had pressure put on her to withdraw the allegation. It's not right. If a victim tells you this has happened to me, a crime is a crime.
After trying to raise his concerns internally, James felt he had no choice but to go public, despite the risk of facing disciplinary action. Can you describe to me how your colleagues responded at first?
I got the reaction that I expected, really. 50% of people went, I respect what you've done, but I would never do it myself. And the other 50% of people are, you're just having a go at the Met. The problem is fear. People are scared of the consequences of speaking out.
Hello, Jessica.
What did you make? What is it?
James hasn't worked in over a year, and although he's been paid, the uncertainty of what would happen to him has been a strain for his family.
I've seen the impact on Laura. I've seen how tired she is. She doesn't sleep. She worries at the same level that I do. She worries about the future. That is on me. My family has been put in the middle of this situation.
Is it one of those things that you just kind of can't get away from, so it's kind of always on your mind?
Always on my mind.
Yeah.
Perhaps not so much when the children are around, because I try to focus on them and we play a lot.
How would you describe the last 12 months?
Like a tornado that hits you and destroys everything in the space of 5 seconds. Only the 5 seconds became a month, 2 months, 6 months, 10 months, 18 months.
Do you ever resent James for being a whistleblower?
I admire him. He's very admirable, but I do blame him. Because it's put us in the situation we're in now. Emotionally, I don't think it was worth it, because we are going through hell. And this is not over. It's far from being over.
James has since been disciplined for misconduct and has resigned from his job as he felt he had no choice. With no close family nearby, the support of their friends is invaluable to James and Laura.
The thing is, it's not an isolated story. It's not like you hear of, you do hear very frequently.
I don't think it's a big surprise to anybody that whistleblowers are about to be treated.
Yeah, but it's shameful. It's really shameful because, these are people that are fundamentally looking out for the public interest. And I just think it's been really, really brave and courageous. And, I really, really admire you for what you've done.
James is now taking the Metropolitan Police Force to an employment tribunal. But the costs are high, so he is representing himself.
I'm just writing a very quick letter, pre-tribunal notice. Obviously I'm having to learn quite a lot of the law on the fly. This is quite a lot of work that I have to do. It takes hours at a time.
James gave evidence to the Public Administration Select Committee about what he saw. 2 months later, the UK Statistics Authority withdrew its endorsement of police crime statistics because it had lost trust in them. Apart from an ongoing employment tribunal, James now has to decide what to do with his life. Where does it end? Can you see a future when this is not hanging over you?
The psychological impact is so heavy. I've had moments where I've thought you're in over your head, but I've never had a regret about doing it. I never will have a regret about doing it.
And Lucy is here now. Well, there's a new parliamentary report that's out today based on James's evidence. So what does that report say then?
Yes, that's right. Well, the report by the Public Administration Select Committee essentially really puts the boot into the police and the way that they use and rely on crime statistics and record them. I mean, it really doesn't pull any punches. So just to give you a few examples, in reference to a delay by Scotland Yard, now this was a delay over addressing rape figures that had been recorded incorrectly or downgraded. The report describes that incident as a damning indictment of police complacency, inertia and a lack of leadership. Bernard Jenkin, the committee chair, has referred to what he calls a target junkie culture, so that dependency on the targets to go out and solve crime. And the report really says that it's completely inappropriate to use those targets. He also criticised the Commissioner, Sir Bernard Hogan-Howe, and the report really doesn't pull any punches from the top brass either. So the attitudes and behaviours which lead to the misreporting of crime have become ingrained, including within senior leadership. So incredibly critical, apart from James Patrick. And the report commends his courage in speaking out and for fulfilling his duties to the highest standards of public service despite intense pressure not to. And they also, the MPs say they have grave doubts that the Metropolitan Police have treated James Patrick fairly or with respect and care.
And what have they said then, the Metropolitan Police, about this?
Well, the Metropolitan Police have said, on crime statistics specifically, they've said crime recording is complicated and it is inevitable that we will not always get it right. We are committed to ensuring accurate recording of crime figures and are looking into the allegations that have been made. We have launched an independent investigation into our crime recording.
It's a very emotional film, as you said, Matt. You have to admire James for his bravery, but on the other hand, you can see how much of an impact, can't you, it's had on him and his wife. I mean, what's the future then for the couple now?
Absolutely. I think it's worth saying that the misconduct findings from the Metropolitan Police's point of view focused on the fact that James had published a blog and then an e-book about his concerns over reforms.
Have they mentioned him in particular then as well, then, Matt?
Have they mentioned him?
James, yeah.
Yes, well, yes, they have, and they've said to us that he was issued with a final written warning following a misconduct meeting, which we know, and that they have accepted his resignation. So we know that. But in terms of his future, his immediate future, he is taken the Metropolitan Police to a tribunal, and he's seeking damages. The first hearing was yesterday, where it's all kind of set out, and he's actually representing himself. So he's obviously going to be very much kind of wrapped up in this case for the immediate future, certainly.
Okay. Well, Lucy, thank you. A lot of information.